Voters told TxDOT they don't want new toll lanes, even approved extra cash over the years to ensure it. So why is TxDOT now using accounting tricks to still add those toll roads here? Both Congress and the Texas Capitol in upheaval over sexual harassment complaints. What took so long and what realistically might change? Dallas about to debut cite and release. No more jail time for those caught with small amounts of marijuana. District Attorney Faith Johnson in studio on the implications of enacting it. And Ted Cruz has a Republican challenger, a Christian TV producer named Bruce Jacobson with ties to Trump. Should the Cruz campaign be concerned?
From WFAA TV, this is Inside Texas Politics with Jason Whiteley.
Good morning. We begin with that new controversial program in Dallas. In less than 2 weeks, anyone caught with small amounts of marijuana will be given a ticket rather than going to jail. District Attorney Faith Johnson is a Republican and among those who say this is a good idea. She's here to talk about the implications of the new ordinance, and joining the questioning as always is Bud Kennedy of the Star-Telegram. Mr. DA, thanks for being here. Bud, good to see you.
Good morning. May I correct you?
You shook your head in the open there. Tell me why you shook your head.
They'll be given a summons, right?
Right, thank you. It's not a ticket, and that is the misinformation. That's why we're having a cite and release community forum on November the 28th, St. Paul Methodist Church, Pastor Butler's church, because people are misinformed in terms of what cite and release is. So it is not a ticket, it's a summons.
Well, yeah, so walk us through that. If someone's caught with what amount of marijuana, what happens to them, and is it up to the officer's discretion?
Yeah, well, this is what's happening. If anyone is caught with marijuana in the city of Dallas, right, and the amount of that marijuana is 4 ounces or less, then the officer has the right to cite them, meaning give them a summons to report to court later. Now, the offense is not no jail time at all. It still has the same range of punishment. The only problem is, or the only issue is that the officer will cite them, give them a summons, and release them. And that's for the city of Dallas only. But if you can recall, the city council voted several months ago that they would adopt cite and release. So we've been working with them, and they asked the district attorney's office would they work with them in terms of making this program work. So we said to them we would do that. So cite and release starts December the 1st. However, come out on November the 28th so you can get all the information you need to get about cite and release.
We're less than 2 weeks away, but on the 28th, when you have this community forum, what do you expect to encounter?
Well, we're hoping that people first will come out, and we will have Judge Mulder, who is the presiding judge over the misdemeanor courts, and you will have Sheriff Valdez there. You also have Chief Tittle. So we're going to have a panel of members who have been working with cite and release. I mean, these folks, we've been working on it for months, right, and so that we can really nail it down, get all the kinks and the bugs out of it, so that we'll be ready to go on December the 1st. So we're hoping to be able to educate the people, the citizens of Dallas County, as to what cite and release really means.
Now, what's good about cite and release and what's bad about it from your end? It saves some county money, it saves city police time, it saves some county money on jail.
Well, what the city is saying, the city of Dallas is saying, look, we're down by 500 officers. We need our officers to focus on something else, something bigger than marijuana cases 4 ounces of less. So for them, the officer will be able to cite, release them, and go and hopefully chase the murderers and the rapists and the more serious offenses. For Dallas County, what we're hoping to achieve is that there will be less county time, jail time. People are actually in jail, and hopefully would save bed space for other criminals who are the murderers or the rapists or what have you.
And realistically, what sentences are you seeing now for small possession of marijuana? They're not going to trial probably. What sentences?
Really what we're doing is, and keep in mind, we have 26 cities in Dallas County. The city of Dallas is the only city that has agreed to do cite and release. And
everyone else, you still go to jail.
Well, you can still go to jail. All the other cities, they will actually go to jail. But what we have agreed to do is to do a PR bond so that we can equalize it, so that no one is really staying in jail. Although they're not in the city of Dallas, we have agreed to offer PR bonds for all the other cities to try to equalize it. And we want to say to people, it doesn't matter whether you come through cite and release or not. We at the DA's office will prosecute these cases the same. And what's so critical about what we're about to do is we will still offer what we call the memo program for anybody who has been charged with the offense of marijuana, 4 ounces or less, whether you come through cite and release or not. So everyone will get the same opportunity in terms of prosecution.
Many conservatives still think marijuana is a gateway drug. What do you tell those fellow Republicans who think this might be taking it easy on them?
Well, what I say to people, my position is that I'm your chief law enforcement officer in Dallas County. I'm going to enforce the law. Marijuana is still an offense, so until our legislators decide that it won't be an offense, that's their responsibility. My responsibility is to make certain that all laws are enforced. Yes, we can offer PR bonds, we can offer memo agreement, we can offer treatment, and all those other things. I have that discretion as your DA, but you can count on me to enforce the laws, all laws of this state and of this county.
Faith, I want to ask you, background checks for gun buyers have been in the news a lot lately. In particular, the concerns that people convicted of domestic violence or a felony are somehow able to buy guns easily because they don't wind up on the list. How does that list work from your department's end? What's the process for making sure that people convicted of domestic violence can't buy guns?
I don't know if you all know that we also have implemented in Dallas County an MOU program. We are working with all agencies, the police department, sheriff department, other agencies. We want to make certain that people who have guns, that we are able to get those guns surrendered in our domestic violence cases. So we are working toward that through our MOU program to make certain those guns are taken off the street.
Who's making sure the background checklist is accurate?
Well, we are working with the sheriff department, we're working with the police department to make certain of that, but most importantly, we have our MOU in place.
And that's a memorandum of understanding?
Memorandum of understanding, and all parties have signed off on that memorandum of understanding so that we can all work collaboratively to make certain that people who have committed domestic violence will not have guns. Because if you do know anything about guns and domestic violence, if a gun is in the house, you have almost 5 times chances of someone getting killed in domestic violence circumstances.
Final moments. Dallas's police chief disbanded the Vice unit, the city's Vice unit here, after questions surfaced about how it was run. Does that jeopardize any existing Vice cases that your prosecutors currently have in court?
Well, we're looking at that. We haven't discovered whether or not there will be any issues. Obviously, we're going to be very careful in terms of looking at those cases, and if we think there's anything there, you better believe that we're going to do the right thing.
Nothing found so far.
Nothing found so far.
Correct. Thanks for correcting. It's a summons, not a ticket.
It's a summons, not a ticket.
And the event is November 28th. We'll have details on our website here at WFA.com. Faith Johnson, good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's another 14 months before the legislature reconvenes in Austin, but several of Dallas's most well-known business leaders testified before a committee last week, telling lawmakers another bathroom bill is going to be bad for business. 2 Republicans here on this program recently also predicted that a bill such as that would be back. Ross Ramsey is the co-founder and executive editor of the Texas Tribune. He's usually in Austin, but here in Dallas today. Good to see you, man.
In real life, so
absolutely.
I'm not just a TV guy.
Not in the monitor behind us here. Right. How worried are business leaders this will be back?
I think they're pretty certain it's going to be back. They want to mount their defense now instead of late like they did this year, but the way the politics on this are going, I think it's clearly going to be back. With companies like Amazon ringing the doorbell in Texas, they're saying, you know, everybody's watching when you do stuff like this and it's bad for economic development. They haven't convinced everybody in Austin of that. They're working on that.
Let's talk about toll roads, too. In 2014 and 2015, voters approved more money for TxDOT. Right. Now, TxDOT was saying, as of mid last week, it was going to have new toll lanes after all. when voters said no. And now on Thursday afternoon, they backed off that after they got a few phone calls from the governor and lieutenant governor.
Yeah, they got some angry phone calls from the state's leadership that said you haven't been listening to the voters or to us. We don't want toll roads. The TxDOT folks said they're managed lanes, they're not toll roads. It costs you to drive on them. The political leadership said rewrite your plans. They're rewriting their plans.
Let's talk about Steve Mostyn. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yes.
I've always I've heard his name, but read his name, but haven't pronounced it too many times. 46-year-old Houston attorney, prominent attorney, mega donor.
A huge donor to the Texas Democrats. This is the kind of loss.
He passed away, yeah.
He passed away this week.
Right.
This is the kind of loss to a political party that takes a while to get over. It happened to the Democrats a while ago when Fred Barron of Dallas died. He was a big financier of the Texas Democratic Party. It happened to the Republicans when Houston homebuilder Bob Perry passed away a few years ago. When you get these mega donors, you know, the tall trees fall and you hear a real noise in the forest.
Democrats really need the money and need that type of financial motivation here too. Who fills that void?
Well, he had been saying before he died that the Democrats needed to diversify and get some more people in there and get some more skin in the game, some more people playing. Now they're forced to.
Gotcha. Ross, back to you in just a moment. Thank you. A Dallas County prosecutor lost her job last week after she was recorded berating an Uber driver, even using her professional position, and then it got political. Chris Crock from WBAP 820 AM with My Voice, My Opinion.
Is she the victim or the perp? That's the question we need to ask with former Dallas County Assistant DA Jody Warner. Only 32 years old and attractive, Warner stands accused of mistreating an Uber driver after a night of drinking and misusing her power. The driver, well, he eventually may have done something untoward to her, but we'll never know. That's what Warner says. This is ridiculous. Did you hear the recording? She berates the driver, swears a ton at him, and then threatens to use her position against him. I could forgive her for mistreating the driver, maybe give her a week or two unpaid suspension and a note in her file. But when you use the power of your job to intimidate someone and you're a public official, it's over. Current DA Faith Johnson did the right thing by firing her. But what was Judge Elizabeth Frizzell doing holding a press conference with Warner in front of the DA's office? Turns out Frizzell is running for DA. Ah, now I know why they held a press conference, for political gain. I will not support Frizzell's candidacy, and if she should win, God forbid, she'd better not hire Warner. I'm Chris Crock, and that's My Voice, My Opinion.
What a week in Washington for Republicans. From Roy Moore to the tax cut bill, a GOP political consultant in studio with ideas on how the party could best handle both. There is Roy Moore there on the left and Bill Clinton. Can you really, though, compare the sexual harassment claims against both men? Flashpoint debates the differences when Inside Texas Politics returns in 3 minutes. First, your Sunday Funnies.
But Jeff Sessions, although he didn't remember much, he did remember to bring his wife. She sat right behind him, and I was watching. She looked like, it's like Mrs. Claus got divorced and married one of the elves.
The Acura Season of Performance event is here. Take advantage of some of the best holiday offers today.
Visit your Acura dealer during the Acura Season of Performance event going on now.
If you're feeling bold, you have to try the new chorizo burger.
Oh, yeah. You can taste the chorizo in every bite.
Our creamy chili sauce.
It's just enough to give you that bit of kick.
Chorizo.
The chorizo burger is here for a limited time. Only at Whataburger.
However you light up your holidays, Kroger is here to help make it magical.
It's the happiest season of all.
So bring on the basting, spice up the tasting, and make every moment truly special. Happy holidays from Kroger.
This year, serve a plump and juicy Kroger turkey. It's just 37 cents a pound. Limit 1 with additional $10 purchase.
No other trucks got your back like the 2017 Nissan Titan, which comes standard with a 5.6-liter V8 and America's best truck warranty. 5 years, 100,000 miles, inside and out, bumper to bumper. Take on today. Now get special Black Friday savings, and with holiday bonus cash, save up to $13,540 or get 0% financing for up to 72 months on Titan XD.
Papa Murphy's Law of the F word. No, this F word. Here's the deal. If it comes from a freezer, not fresh. Box, not fresh. Bag, not fresh. Fresh means just chopped vegetables. Cheese grated by us every day. fresh means we don't even have ovens, because you have an oven. So you can feel good about feeding it to your bingo. Tonight, home bake a large gourmet delight Tuscan chicken and sausage with fresh spinach, Roma tomatoes, olive oil, and garlic on a crispy, thin crust. Just $11. Papa Murphy's.
Right now, during the Rooms to Go holiday sale, buying beautiful new furniture is easier than ever thanks to our 60-month interest-free finance offer. And here's the best part. There's no minimum purchase. Buy whatever you want. A room, a single piece, whatever, and make 60 low interest-free monthly payments. So hurry in, check out our exceptional selection of living rooms, dining rooms, and bedrooms. Get great value, save big, and get 60-month interest-free financing right now during the Rooms to Go holiday sale.
Countless patients, countless ailments, countless hours. And guess what? You can handle it all. Be a leader in your field with a BSN from Strayer University, a program created by and for nurses. Let's get it, nurses.
The Acura Season of Performance event is here. Take advantage of some of the best holiday offers today.
Visit your Acura dealer during the Acura Season of Performance event going on now.
Roy Moore really got the conversation going. Then that image of Al Franken came out. Sexual harassment in politics is real. Question now, how will Congress and even state lawmakers here in Texas handle it? Jordan Powell is a Republican consultant. He runs Red Right Strategies here in Dallas and former deputy campaign manager for Mike Huckabee. Welcome back to you.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about the story of the moment here in D.C. With what's going on with Roy Moore and now Al Franken. Al Franken has called for his own ethics investigation.
Right.
That's pretty unusual.
It is. I think this story, though, is bigger than politics. I mean, we're seeing this in Hollywood big time as well.
Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein, Louis C.K., some other folks that have allegations have been surfaced around. And then on the political side, we're seeing it on both sides of the aisle now. So I think this is more of a societal and cultural conversation than it is just a political conversation. Obviously, in instances where it's impacting specific candidates and politicians, it could have a local impact on their specific race or campaign. But I think you're seeing this conversation happen on a much bigger level than just politics.
Jordan, you've been around political circles for a while. How commonplace is sexual harassment in politics?
I have not encountered it much, if any at all, myself. Now, that's very anecdotal, and I know you can find other people with different stories and some sad stories. And so it's obviously a very important issue to tackle head on no matter what industry you're in. But personally, I have not come across it very much in my political life.
Let's switch off to politics in D.C. The House tax bill, the bill that was passed by the House, it was clean, didn't have any repeal of the individual mandate like the Senate is talking about here too. Will the Senate sacrifice the tax bill over the individual mandate, over health care?
I think that remains to be seen.
You think so?
I don't know. I mean, the Senate has been a finicky bunch over the last couple of years, and I think though if they are able to pass tax reform, that will be kind of the first big notch under President Trump's belt, as well as the Republican Congress controlled in both houses. And if we're looking at some of the past election results in Virginia this year and talk about what the midterms might look like, if Republicans and President Trump aren't able to go into the midterms with a handful of accomplishments that they can point to and that people might be seeing in their checkbook and their bottom line, then they're probably going to be in for a rough go in 2018. The midterms are always tricky to begin with. You have to go back to George Bush in 2002 and Bill Clinton in 1998 when the president's party actually won seats in the midterm, and before that you have to go all the way back to 1934 with FDR's first midterm as president. So everything else in between that, including Barack Obama, I think he lost 63 seats in the House in his first 2010 midterm. So the headwinds are against Republicans to begin with, and so they have to find a few key legislative victories, not only symbolically but also substantively, that voters would have liked before they step into the ballot box.
Do you expect a tax bill before the end of the year?
I don't know. I haven't looked at their calendar as far as when
days left
holiday break begins. Now, they have pushed Christmas break back before for some other legislation, but I know it's a huge priority of the president's, and now that the House has passed it, the pressure's on them, so we'll see what their calendar ends up looking like.
Great. Jordan Powell from Red Right Strategies. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Now to a question. Can you really compare allegations against Roy Moore to what women said about Bill Clinton back in the 1990s? The Atlantic wrote an article last week suggesting that Democrats need to confront their own past. This morning, Flashpoint debates the differences. From the right, Mark Davis of 660 AM The Answer, and from the left, Rich Hancock of VirtualNewsCenter.com.
Good Sunday, everybody. Thank you, Jason. My buddy Rich Hancock and I are here. And listen, we don't know from day to day what exactly is going to happen with the Alabama vote in that entire election. But broadly, from the so-called 30,000-foot level, I am intrigued. I'm finding some people on Rich's side suddenly, conveniently, retroactively willing to believe Bill Clinton's accusers. How convenient. I view this, and listen, I'm not saying everybody's insincere, but it's safe now. The Clintons are headed toward, you know, whatever part of history they have earned. And I think that's to insulate people so that they can not be hypocrites for choosing to believe, which they obviously want to, Roy Moore's accusers. Am I off base here, or you think I'm onto something?
I would say there are vast and stark differences in the two cases. First of all, the fact that there is a preponderance of evidence. You have the number of witnesses, the number of interviews, the reporting that has been done, and you're a reporter, Mark, the diligence of the reporting. How can you say that it is simply not believable? How can any... Mitch McConnell
actually, I didn't say that. I haven't said anything about what I think of Roy Moore's accusers.
By contrast to Paula Jones,
yes.
By contrast
Kathleen
to
Juanita Broderick.
By contrast, you have he said, she said versus preponderance of evidence.
Well, okay, how exactly does something become preponderance of evidence? A story in the Washington Post doesn't exactly strike me as court admissible.
Who corroborated Paula Jones?
Well, there's nobody else in the room.
Who corroborated Juanita Broderick?
There wasn't anybody in the room when he allegedly raped her.
This is what I'm saying. These girls, these teenagers, and by the way, the difference is also, tell me the minor that Bill Clinton assaulted or molested. Tell me the minor. Monica Lewinsky was 22 when she went to the White House.
That makes it okay. No, I understand. And
22, Mark. Come on.
I understand completely. But so let me ask you this: do you believe Juanita Broderick?
Yeah, sure, I do. Bill Clinton was a mauler, and
would you now?
And I didn't vote. And you know what? I voted for him, but not in the primaries. Right. From the left, I'm Rich Hancock, VirtualNewsCenter.com.
He didn't inhale. From the right, Mark Davis, 660 AM The Answer.
Now to 2018, Ted Cruz has a challenger with ties to Trump. But is it really competition? We'll talk about it next on Roundtable.
The 2018 Cadillac XT5.
Worship me.
Beauty. Greater than the sum of its parts.
Texas residents get this low-mileage lease on this Cadillac XT5 from around $379 per month. Plus, Dallas area residents can get an additional $1,000 toward the lease.
Everybody, stop what you're doing and download the Quick Trip app.
Thanks for getting the word out at Maria Daniels 88. That was aggressive. Download the Quick Trip app and order some deliciousness.
For the first time ever, 66-month financing now held over till Sunday. There's still time to shop this incredible buying opportunity at Nebraska Furniture Mart. 66 months, our longest financing on qualifying furniture, flooring, and mattress purchases ever. Store-wide, get 30-month financing when you spend $9.99 or more. First time ever, 66-month financing held over till Sunday. 66-month financing on furniture, flooring, and mattresses. Hurry in before it's gone. Nebraska Furniture Mart.
Whoa, nice outfit.
When I grow up, I'm going to Mars.
We're working on that.
Some people know how far they want to go. A personalized financial strategy can help you get them there. See how access to JP Morgan investment expertise can help you. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Everyone wants to know when McRib will be back, including Jamie, who tweeted that you must answer its call. This is that call.
Hello?
Jamie? McRib is back.
What is this?
You posted, and we answered.
McRib is back with tender pork, tangy barbecue sauce, onions, and pickles. Get 2 mouth-watering McRib sandwiches for just $5.
This holiday season, me spreading the spirit of giving.
Can Elmo help?
Yeah, sure. Get easy. Be careful, bit delicate. Happy holidays, Elmo.
Happy holidays. It feels good to give.
Tastes good, too.
Chrysler Pacifica and Pacifica Hybrid, proud sponsor of Sesame Street. Get 0% APR for 72 months, plus $1,000 bonus cash, plus no monthly payments for 90 days on 2017 Chrysler Pacifica models.
Time now for Reporters Roundtable to put the headlines in perspective. Bud and Ross both with us in studio. Ross, we'll start with you since you're our special guest here today in studio. Congress and the state capitol in Austin both in upheaval over these sexual harassment claims. The moment has finally arrived to address some of these. What do you expect to happen realistically?
I think realistically this has become a political liability or a political advantage depending on which side you're on, and we're going to hear a lot more about this as we go into this election year and as we go in Texas into the 2019 legislative session. I don't think this is a blip on the screen. I think this is going to be a trend, and we're going to talk about it for a while.
Will it cost some people their jobs?
Yeah, it will, and it probably should. I mean, there's a lot going on at the Texas Capitol. There has been for years and years, and they're finally kind of dealing with the problem, or looking like they might deal with the problem.
Bud, you've seen this too in your time down there.
The important point is that it is bipartisan. We're talking about it happening in both parties. We know what's happened in both parties in Austin. Right. The public's reaction, though, isn't really about either party. It's just about how pitiful this is on the part of everybody. Right. It drives everybody away from politics. It drives voters away, drives candidates away, makes it just look like a big stench pit in Austin.
What was your stat? Before we went on, you mentioned a stat about the number of women versus men.
Yeah, in the history of the Texas legislature, there have been 5,415 men and 155 women.
Wow.
In the whole history of the legislature.
That's an incredible number.
That is changing. We saw that change in the Virginia primary and some of the other elections last week.
But let's talk about Senator Cornyn filing that bipartisan bill to crack down on the federal background checks. What happened after the massacre 2 weeks ago in Sutherland Springs? 4 Republican co-authors, 4 Democratic co-authors on there too. Is it going to change anything?
This is something that the Senate got together on, and they have a bill that will force the military to report domestic violence cases, court-martials properly. But some states actually have state laws saying that mental health records have to be reported. Domestic violence cases, which are misdemeanors, have to be reported by the county clerks. Sometimes those don't get into the system. Some states have laws requiring reporting, just like you have to report child abuse, you have to report sex offenders, everything else. We'll see whether Texas takes that on.
The military was supposed to do this to start with, but didn't do it. How do you make sure these bureaucrats essentially follow the law?
You got to tighten it up. This shooter's history should have prevented him from buying any weapons and did not, and it was a fault of the system. So I think Cornyn's going after the system on this one. He's trying to find ways to answer the question you just asked me.
Ross, the other big political news here too, a Christian TV producer named Bruce Jacobson, he's running against Ted Cruz. He has ties to President Trump. Should the Cruz campaign be concerned at all about him right now?
One of the interesting things about Ted Cruz is that he came out of nowhere and beat David Dewhurst, and he's not going to let that happen to him. You can see in his campaigning already against Beto O'Rourke of El Paso that he's going to take all challengers seriously. I don't think he's in any danger in particular in the Republican primary, but you never know.
Jacobson has Huckabee and Santorum on his side, he says, so we'll see how much money he's able to raise, how strong his campaign is, and it may come down to who's a better preacher.
We will see. Gentlemen, thank you guys very much. We appreciate it. Thank you for watching as well. Hope you and your family have a good Thanksgiving, and Bud, Ross, and I will see you again next week. Enjoy the week.